Right, you join us with some huge breaking news, and it comes from Everton. Everton fans, you're going to be delighted. Let's go live to Vinny O'Connor to get it. Vinny, what can you tell us?
Yes, I promised you we would get this news today because Everton have just confirmed in a statement that they have signed Jack Grealish on a season-long loan. He will wear the club's number 18 shirt. There is good reason behind that, as well as Jack Grealish explains in this statement, because two of his favourite players, Paul Gascoigne and Wayne Rooney, both of whom wore the number 18 shirt here at Everton. Now, speaking to the club's in-house media, Jack Grealish has said, "I'm over the moon to have signed for Everton. It's massive for me, honestly. This is a great club with great fans. As soon as I spoke to the manager, I knew there was only one place that I wanted to go. On social media, I've been flooded with messages from Everton supporters, so there's that side of it as well. And that's another reason why I chose Everton. I want to say thank you to the fans for all the messages I've had already. Thank you for all of the love and support. I hope I can repay you now, and I'm sure that I will." There are also quotes in a statement from the Everton manager, David Moyes. In the statement, he says, "We welcome Jack to Everton and we're very pleased to have him on board. I think we're getting him at a good time because he's experienced. He understands the Premier League and we're all fully aware of the levels he's capable of performing to. I know Jack's ambition is to get back into the England squad, so hopefully we can help him achieve that over the course of the season. We're all looking forward to working with him and providing a platform for him to show the best version of himself." We've spoken quite a bit today about his ambition, of course, to get back into that England squad, particularly with the World Cup at the end of the season as well. No detail or notice in the statement, though, as regards how much Everton are paying for this loan for Jack Grealish. We understand it's around £15 million. And, of course, there is the option for Everton to buy Jack Grealish at the end of this loan period as well. And that price is set at £50 million. But for now, he's on a season-long loan. And Jack Grealish is Everton's sixth signing of the summer.
Yeah, and this is music, you'd have to say, to Everton fans' ears. How big a coup, Vinny, is this? Just put it into perspective for us.
It is a big coup, Vicky, because there are other clubs interested. And I think one of the big points to make here is that Jack Grealish could feasibly have waited right up until the end of the transfer window, right up until the deadline, to see exactly what other options he had on the table. Just apologies if you heard some bad language there, by the way, as well. But with regards to that, when Everton made the move and put the money on the table, Jack Grealish has moved quite a bit and done as much as he possibly could to get this deal through as well. He was attracted by what David Moyes had to say. He makes that point in the statement once again. And, of course, we know his record at Manchester City last season. 32 appearances across all competitions, but just 7 starts in the Premier League as well. Yes, there have been the odd injury problem as well, but if Jack Grealish was to repeat that kind of those kind of numbers next season in terms of appearances, then that would really not do his international chances any good at all. Under David Moyes here at Everton, he gets that opportunity for more regular first-team football. And, of course, Everton are more than happy because they add that extra creative influence into their forward line as well. And that bit of extra know-how when it comes to winning games. We all know what Jack Grealish has achieved in his career, of course, as well. A 3-time Premier League winner, a European Cup winner, UEFA Super Cup winner, Club World Cup winner, FA Cup winner as well. A big part of Manchester City's treble-winning side as well. Yes, he's fallen down the pecking order at Manchester City, but now a big opportunity, as he puts it, to really get his career back on track here at Everton.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because you'd think that he has got some huge ambitions still, Vinny, because you mentioned the fact that he's taken the number 18 shirt, you know, Paul Gascoigne and Wayne Rooney wearing that. He's still got ambitions to be a fantastic player and to have a big legacy, hasn't he?
Absolutely, and we keep underlining that fact that he wants to get back into the England setup. I think as well the fact that he's been here today at the training ground and the Everton players have been training as well. They arrived around about the same time as Jack Grealish, and the fact that he's got that time now between now and that first Monday Night Football of the season, Everton's first game of the Premier League season, away at newly promoted Leeds, gives him that opportunity to get a little bit up to speed, so at least he can have or play some part in that game away at Ellen Road. And, of course, he will have one eye, if he can put in the performances between now and the end of the month, to force his way back into the England reckoning. They've got those games against Andorra and Serbia, of course, in September, but the end game is ultimately going to the World Cup with England. He was ultimately so disappointed to have missed out on the Euros last summer. And again, he wasn't able to find the consistency of team selection under Pep Guardiola last season that would thrust him back into the England picture either. Here at Everton, there is, again, that opportunity. David Moyes clearly rates him highly. We go back, I keep mentioning it, the fact that back in 2021, David Moyes described him as possibly the best midfielder in the Premier League. That's how highly David Moyes rates him once again. If he can get anywhere near those levels, he will not only be a regular in Everton's first team, but he will be back in the England picture as well, you would imagine.
OK, stay there, Vinny, because I've got the City statement. So I'm going to read that to our viewers. Let's just read that first, and I will come back to you very shortly indeed. This is what the City statement says. His debut campaign in Sky Blue saw him realise a boyhood dream as he earned his first Premier League medal before being an integral part of the treble-winning squad the following season, 2022-23. Grealish started both the FA Cup win over Manchester United and Champions League victory over Inter, and the Blues made history. They go on to say triumphs in the UEFA Super Cup, where Grealish scored his spot kick in the penalty shootout, as well as the FIFA Club World Cup, followed as City held the big five trophies at the same time. He helped the Blues claim a record-breaking fourth Premier League title in a row in 2023-24, but struggled with injuries. And then they go on to say everyone at Manchester City wishes Jack the very best of luck during his time at Everton. In total, he won 3 Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup, 1 UEFA Champions League, 1 FIFA Club World Cup and 1 UEFA Super Cup during his time at Manchester. So, Vinny, as we're saying, this is still a player that can offer so much. Everton have got him. You talked about the fact that he plays off the left. Where do you see him playing? You know this team really well. In that number 10 role, what will he do at Everton?
I think it's going to be interesting how David Moyes pieces it all together now, because, of course, they're a little bit top-heavy down the left-hand side. Dwight McNeil can play off the left, albeit I think at times last season when he was fit, we saw him playing on the right-hand side. But in essence, that was to accommodate Iliman and Dye playing down the left-hand side as well. Jack Grealish can play, as we mentioned, down the left, but also as a number 10. I mean, Iliman and Dye can play as a number 10 as well. So, there's also Kiernan Dewsbury Hall to think of, who can play as a more advanced midfielder, albeit he could play as a number 8. I suppose, as well. So, but what it gives David Moyes is that fluidity across that front line now as well, that experience, that creativity. Don't forget, as a focal point for the attack at the moment, yes, they've got Beto, and he's been criticised at times by David Moyes, not overly impressed by his hold-up play during this pre-season. And Thierno Barry is someone who's coming across to the Premier League and relatively young and inexperienced in terms of the physicality of the Premier League, of course, as well. And it's whether he can be a focal point for that Everton attack. But someone like Jack Grealish, with that creative influence that he has, and being able to get him on the ball, will certainly add an extra dimension to Everton's forward line and a goal threat as well as assists. I think when you look at it, though, across the whole piece, that what ultimately David Moyes would like to do still is add further to this squad. And I think ideally he would like to be able to get a striker. I think everyone's looking to get a striker in at the moment. Yes, they have been able to get Thierno Barry in, but I think a more experienced striker at this level would be of benefit not just to David Moyes, but it would help Thierno Barry, would help Beto as well take a little bit of the pressure off themselves. Even Yusuf Chamiti, who's still learning his trade as a youngster up there. And I think they need that kind of focal point, that more experienced focal point at times as well. The kind of option that Dominic Calvert-Lewin offered them last season, but ultimately they've lost because his contract was at an end at the club. So, as I say, there's still work to be done in the transfer window for David Moyes, but ultimately I think with the options that he's got across that forward line, he could be pretty happy, and a lot happier than he was earlier in the window anyway.
You'd have to say that. Look, he did talk about 10, and not that I'm counting, but I think that makes 6. I think you said that last time. So do you expect another 4 to come through that door?
I think we're looking at 3 or 4, definitely, Vicky, yeah, because they want to strengthen right back. They wanted a defensive midfielder who can take on the kind of role that Idrissa Gana-Gueye operates in. Albeit, I mean, you could see maybe James Garner occupying that role. Maybe even Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, although I think he likes to play a little bit more advanced than that. We've seen them obviously be interested in someone like John McGinn as well. I think a defensive midfielder, ideally, who fits the same kind of profile, though, as Idrissa Gana-Gueye would be ideal for David Moyes. And we talk about having fluidity across that front line. What they do want is balance things up, I think, on the right-hand side. I mentioned the fact that Dwight McNeil can play down there. but they would like an out-and-out attacking right-sided player. We've seen them go into Southampton for Tyler Dibbling. They had 3 bids rejected on that front as well. If Everton were still to get Tyler Dibbling, then it very much needs Southampton to compromise on their asking price. They also have looked at Abdul Fatawu at Leicester City. Again, there seems to be a discrepancy on the valuations of the player there. And I mentioned the fact that ideally, you know, they'd like a more experienced striker up there as well. So, yeah, I think we're looking at least 3 or 4 potential new signings for Everton before the window closes. Certainly that's what David Moyes would want. It's about getting them across the line now. But as I say, we expect more activity from Everton in this window. Yes, you were right, though, Vicky. It is 6 up until now.
That's only because you told me. Look, just in terms of Jack Grealish as well, you know, we know he's a character, don't we? But he absolutely loves the fans. How will he fit in with those Everton fans, and how will they take him into their hearts, do you think?
I think they already have, and we saw that in the statement today, the Everton statement. Certainly those quotes from Jack Grealish where he spoke about the messages that he's got on social media from the Everton fans. There's a great deal of excitement amongst the Everton fan base for someone like Jack Grealish joining them. Remember, when he signed for Manchester City, I think you pointed out earlier, Vicky, as well, the fact that he would cost £100 million. Everton could get him for £50 million next summer if all goes to plan with the season-long loan, given the fact that they have that option to buy at the end of that loan period as well. He left the fans a little bit disappointed, I have to say, outside Everton's Finch Farm training ground today, because he did drive up to the main exit and then decided to veer off down to the right-hand side and make his way down to the side exit. And we were all waiting to get a shot of him as well. The fans were waiting to, I suppose he would have got mobbed, actually, if he'd stopped outside the training ground. So maybe it was a good idea from that point of view. But also, it was well before this announcement was made official by Everton that he had joined on a season-long loan. So there was that to think of as well. But there is excitement about what he can bring, his creative influence, the goals he can score, and he's a very amenable, personable character with the fans, off the pitch, the way he treats them and engages with them generally, and amongst the teammates as well that he's had in the past. A very popular figure in the dressing room. He will certainly bring something to this Everton dressing room as well, and so that's why Evertonians are feeling it's exciting times ahead, the fact that they've been able to pull off such a coup.
Yeah, just tell us about that. How excited will Everton fans be? Because it's fair to say, back at Aston Villa, he was kind of like the big fish in maybe a small pond. Do you think that's what's going to... And I'm not trying to be disparaging about Everton in any way, shape or form, but in terms of what he will be to Everton there, do you think that's what he'll recreate at Everton, whereas perhaps that's not what he had at Manchester City?
I get what you mean with that, Vicky. I think what everyone here at Everton is realistic about is where they've been in the last few years and fighting a relegation battle. What they see in a signing like Jack Grealish is that ambition now to forget about those years and start progressing this football club. They've got a lovely new stadium to look forward to. I'm looking forward to being there for that first home game of the season as well against Brighton. They'll obviously want to hit the ground running, because the longer it drags on before they get that first win at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, then of course people will be making a thing out of changing their home and moving away from Goodison Park and what have you. But certainly when you see a player who has achieved what Jack Grealish has in the game, that is such an exciting player on the ball, that can create opportunities, can score goals as well, that says to the Everton fan base, look, our ambition is not about fighting relegation battles now. It's about pushing towards, not just pushing towards the top half of the table. It's about building the foundations now that's going to see this team challenging for European football season in, season out. That's something that we were able to do under David Moyes in his first spell in charge, and those are the standards that David Moyes is looking to take the club back to as well.